I'm nervous about making this video. I'm electing to be a public person, a public figure by doing this YouTube channel. I can't blame anybody for doing it. This is just me wanting to be a part of the community, wanting to make videos for people. But I have a private life. I have a job where I work with the public. I have a job where I work with students. They're adult students, but still, you have to understand in a cancel culture planet, the sensitivity I want to treat the subject matter we're going to be dealing with today, it has to be there. But I want to have fun too. I don't make these videos because I'm making any money off of them. I'm never going to sell you a loot box or tell you to swing by my concession stand so I can pump you full of caffeine or whatever. This is just for fun. And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have fun. So I want to make it clear, caveat, proviso, whatever. My humor that comes through this video isn't because I'm insensitive to the subject matter at hand. My humor is in this video because that's who I am, and I'm always that way. I can't turn it off. So if I ever joke about something that you find upsetting or frustrating, or you think it makes me a bad person, I promise I'm not. That's how I process the world. So when I am being sensitive, this is the voice you're going to hear. But when I'm being me, you're going to get glimpses of who I really am. I've been nervous about making this video for a while, but I'm going to be using a lot of like euphemisms so I don't get this video flagged, which is going to be quite the task. If I'm successful in any of this, if you find this interesting, if you find this fun, if you find this informative, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm the babyest, tiny, swaddling baby channel at this point, and so every click helps. But without any further ado, for all the people that have subscribed and have been waiting for this video for the longest time, I'm happy to finally present you with everything comic book collectors need to know about Crossed. Crossed. What the hell is it? It's illustrated by Jason Burrows and created by Garth Ennis. Yes, that Garth Ennis. It was made in September 2008, and in the simplest terms, it's a virus that ruins the world. Like, literally ruins the world. Entirely. There's no hope for a better future. In fact, the series even goes 100 years into the future, and everything's all sorts of screwed. Whatever you think about Garth Ennis, think about this quote from a friend of mine when we were both reading this book way back in 2008 when it came out. This feels like Garth trying to outdo Garth. Seriously, the series reads like that friend of yours that's always trying to one-up themselves. Hey, did you see my knife? I did. That's a nice knife. Great. Now the knife's out. You think I could swallow it whole? I would prefer you didn't swallow a whole knife. It always makes me think of this quote from Alan Moore. It was in the back of one of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comic books where he wanted to bring back letters from fans, and so he was addressing people's concerns and answering questions. It was really fun. Someone wrote Mr. Moore a letter saying, how do you deal with expectations? How do you deal with, company pressures and people who didn't like the ending of a story? How do you jive what an audience wants with what you're willing to provide? And so Alan Moore, being the genius he is, he wrote back and he said, if the audience knew what they wanted, they'd be the writer. Man, in my own writing, I think about that all the time. That sentence has given me so much courage to try new things and be weird with ideas that I have. But there is always that trying to reach a broader audience, trying to make a career out of this ball and chain tied around my ankle that prevents me from going that extra mile. I don't think Garth Ennis cares. I don't think he cares authentically. I think if he comes up with an idea that he feels has legs, it doesn't matter if you find it offensive or scary or weird, he's going to do it. Enough about the background stuff. What is so fancy about this comic? Like, okay, a virus, a zombie-ish virus. Who cares? Why is that anything to write home about? I want you to picture the Walking Dead universe, right? Perfect. Nice framework for us in our discussion here today. I want you to picture the Walking Dead universe and now make it 1,000 times worse. Okay, I'm going to make a claim here that by the time this video's done, you're going to agree with me. Crossed is the worst, period, fictitious universe you can find yourself in, period, ever, period. It is the worst. I would rather be in a Klingon war. I would rather be in The Walking Dead. I would rather be in The Walking Dead and reincarnated 100 times into that universe, only to die and come back, and then on like the 101st I can go to heaven or whatever. But like, I would rather be in any fictitious universe you can imagine than The Walking Dead. The only argument I will take outside of that is the Cabin in the Woods universe, because technically that is every horror universe, and so you could run into some crappy situations. But still, Crossed is the worst because of the horrific Crossed virus. What is it? First of all, you get this look on your face. This rash, disgusting, gnarly rash that they've done close-ups on in some of the books, and it's horrific. That's what you look like from a distance, and that's how you can identify people who are crossed. Get it? You're crossed, you crossed over, you get it, you're smart. But there's 4 reasons why the crossed virus is the worst virus ever. 1, you no longer care about your own safety. Bodily harm, losing limbs, dying, doesn't matter to you so long as it's for a laugh. Number 2, you become a punching, kicking, biting, peeing, pooping, Harvey Weinstein kind of guy. 3, you remember everything about your former life. Everything. Every friend you've ever had, every passcode to a locked up projectile weapon somewhere in your house, the nuke codes, how to fly a plane, the worst thing that your best friend ever told you that they did, so you can turn that secret on to them when you're turned and you want to mess with their head. You use your own knowledge of the people around you to torment the people around you in the worst possible ways, especially when you're Epsteining things. 4, the speed at which you get infected. It is seriously almost instantaneous how quickly all of those 1 through 3 changes take place. Would you hold him? Dude, I'm trying. He's super strong. Like, maybe like use that knife that you had a minute ago or something. All right, I mean, it's worth a shot at the, God, I spit in my eye. Just grab the knife. That's a great idea. It's so fast. And you get infected with any bodily fluid. I'm going to let that sit there for a second. Any bodily fluid. Ugh. Gross. So now you're a wandering, violent, don't care about your own safety, know everything about your friends and family monster who wants to Weinstein all over the place, and is the second you touch a person with blood, spit, other stuff, that person gets infected within seconds and they do the exact same thing. You could drop one crossed person into like an arena at the Super Bowl and everyone will be infected. Everyone will be infected in about 20 minutes. It's absurd. But Ricky, I hear you say from your computer screen, that's just violence for the sake of violence. And you're right. How would you even tell a story within those parameters? Crossed is broken into several disparate runs that only occasionally ever tries to tell a cohesive story. Otherwise, with all the tales, you're in, you're out. Usually around 5 or 6 issues, that's like the median length, where it's here's a survivor doing their thing, and this is the horror that they have to witness. The Crossed don't really change because they're madmen Epsteins, but the characters that have to deal with the Crossed are the ones that we're following from story to story. The original Crossed run, written by Garth Ennis and illustrated by Jason Burrows, is 10 issues long. Following that, you have Crossed Family Values, which is 7 issues long. Crossed Psychopath, 7 issues long. Crossed 3D, 1 trade paperback long. Crossed Badlands, 100 issues long. Crossed Wish You Were Here, a webcomic series that is only available in trades and 4 trades long. Crossed Plus 100, 18 issues long. Crossed Plus 100 Mimic, 6 issues long. And then 2 specials and 2 annuals and like 1,000 variant covers. Each one of those chunks is its own individual story in the Crossed universe, and you don't really need to read the other ones. There are some characters like Walter and Smokey, who's like a smart Crossed, and the twins that intersect and have bigger parts over longer arcs of time. But like, if you find any of this interesting and you just want to read like a single arc, you can't go wrong with the original 10-issue run. Maybe pick up the trades we'll talk about buying later, but like, you can't go wrong. Cross Family Values is a religious zealot dad and the Midwestern family that he torments when the world turns crossed. Cross Psychopath. Please don't read Crossed Psychopath. Cross Psychopath contains the worst single issue of any comic book I've ever read in terms of content. I think it's issue 3, and I'm not even going to use euphemisms because it's the language he uses to the person that he's hurting that is the most damaging thing in the world. And if Weinstein-y, Epstein-y stuff is offensive to you, that might actually like break your brain in half. I don't have any trauma like that, and that's a bridge too far for me, but I still own it because I'm a monster. Crossed Badlands is the most accessible, but the most esoteric. Let me explain. So it's 100 issues, right? But it's all just crossed stories. So you'll see 5 issues by one author, 4 issues by another, 6, 7. I think the highest they ever did is like 8 at the very end when like one guy was closing it all out. But on average, you're looking at like 5 and 6 issues. And that's individual stories. I'm an attorney and I'm in the cross world. Whoa, this is horrible. Hey, I'm a mother of 3. This sucks. Like, it's all just individual stories that you can get in and get out. So if you're a run reader, it's a wild time because it changes tone so much. And some of them go back in time. We're not talking about time travel, but they take place in the past. Some of them take place in Japan. Some of them take place in Russia. The United States, obviously. Road trip buddy stories. It runs the gamut. They're really creative. So that's the stories in brief, what they are, what you're dealing with here. And before we get into the actual collector side of things and what that looks like, I just want to take a minute to talk about why you should or shouldn't read this series. You ever heard of a good cry? Yeah, you ever see like a drama movie that just like got you right in the feels, made you feel things, and then the waterworks start? You know what I mean? It's that line from Scrooged, Niagara Falls. You feel something in that movie, and it's sad and it's human and it's affirming, but it's not fun. No one watches Beaches and says, what a fun time. Movies today in the United States are largely comedy, action, love story. That's what you get. They've boiled down the human experience to those 3 sets of emotions that come with those films. I'm a creep, in case you haven't learned yet. And I want to feel everything. I want every feeling at my fingertips. Roger Ebert called movies an empathy machine. They can teach you about the world and yourself. There's an emotion inside of me that a lot of people, I don't know how to start this. Those are simplified emotions that Hollywood sells us because it's the most mass appealing, but every one of us has a deep well of complex, nonsensical seeming emotions that add to the human experience and make us what we are. And one of those emotions is despair. Crossed makes me feel like there's no hope. Crossed makes me feel dark and lonely and sad. And the messed up thing about the Crossed, and they even comment about this in the books, is that they don't do anything that we aren't already doing to each other. They're just doing it without worry of repercussion. And that's a terrifying thought. Seriously, pause, go Google some of the Crossed covers. There is nothing that you can see on those covers that isn't happening at this moment somewhere in the world right now. And that's heavy. It's a heavy feeling. And so there's something that attracts me to the series of miring in that. The hopelessness. Not like, oh, Spider-Man's fighting a really bad guy who kind of got away with it, and in the end, everything ends up all right. Or maybe it doesn't, and Spider-Man's on the edge of the roof going like, wow, what a messed up day that I had. And then you close the book and you go about your day. Crossed doesn't let you. Crossed inflicts emotional pain on the reader, and I dig it. But if you feel that those things I just described are harmful to you, could hurt you, or could like put you in a place that is unsafe, this isn't like oh, you're a little baby if you can't handle this stuff. That's not this at all. I'm telling you, I only handle this stuff because I am a creep, and there are other creeps like me out there. So if you're a creep and you want to read this stuff, go for it. But if you're hearing the way I'm describing these things and going, I don't want to go anywhere near this, I don't blame you, and part of me wishes I was you. Finally, how do you buy this stuff? Because I gotta tell you, back in 2008, parents weren't too happy about Crossed-type comic books and the tarots and the sexy books being out with all the other stuff. It was uncomfortable for store owners, too.
Wowee, Mom! Look at that issue of Spider-Man. He's just whipping around the city.
Oh, honey, you always loved Spider-Man. This one.
Wow! And look at that Batman book. You see Robin with him? I wish I could be Robin.
Maybe for Halloween, mister. What's wrong, Billy? All that's to say, you're not going to find Crossed in your local comic book store. You're not going to find Crossed at flea markets. You're not going to find it at garage sales. This book series, like my collection, has ended in the hands of the end collector. So finding it secondhand, I mean, for real, like picture yourself. You're going to go to a flea market and a guy's got a bunch of X-Men and Spider-Man that you're leafing through, and then all of a sudden you see like a decapitated woman smashed onto a bike. Ugh, you don't want that. It doesn't really hit the secondary market like other books have. But if you want trades, they are readily available on Amazon. If you want single issues, homie, single issues, including the limited pressing stuff like the 1 in 750s and all that good stuff, go to Avatar Press, Google it, Avatar Press, go to their store, and lo and behold, they still have stock of everything. So if any of these stories that I've talked about, if any of the wiki articles tickle your fancy, you can go right to Avatar Press, plug in the name of the series, and they have everything you want. Now, it's important that you listen to me about this next part. People are overcharging for Crossed books on every secondhand seller website. eBay, Mercari, whatever the hell. They're all overcharging because Crossed had so many variant covers and so many limited edition covers. People see that and their brains go, oh, this is rare and I've got 30 of them. I want you to pay me $200. So this really happened to me. I was on Whatnot and I was still in the beginning of my Crossed collecting, and I didn't know that thing about Avatar Press yet. I was on Whatnot and there was a guy who's running a comic store, and I asked him, hey, do you have any Crossed books? He found 35 Crossed books and he wanted to charge me $8 per book. I said, there's no way. I can't. And then he started yelling at me And that's what inspired one of my earlier videos about Whatnot Sellers. Actually, it was Crossed. He was like, "Oh, I hate it when people ask for stuff and then don't follow through." And I was like, "I hate the sound of your voice, so die mad." So that's Crossed in a nutshell. Who made it, what it is, why I like it, where to buy it. And the next video, this is going to be the more sensitive one. I want to be able to share my collection so that everybody can see it, but these are some spicy covers. So I'm going to be doing it in the next couple days with a pile of sticky notes. And as we go through the books one by one, kind of like what I did with my Vampirella one, I'm going to be self-editing as we go. If there's anything that I think is too horrific, I will give out the name of the issue. And so you can go Google that version yourself. They're all labeled like torture cover, rap cover, whatever. So you'll be able to Google it really quickly. But I don't want to get the video like flagged forever. You know what I mean? So I'm not monetizing my videos yet, but still. That video is going to be way more trigger warning sensitive than this one. This one I feel like I was able to get away with a lot because of euphemisms. But in that one, it's just images and they're raw. And I'm going to have to give like a 4-minute trigger warning at the beginning for anybody. So I will definitely try to make that clear. And there is one issue in my books. I hate it. I got it in a lot and it filled the run in Badlands, but it is an animal cover and I don't mess with that. I don't know if you've watched my other videos, but like we love pets here, and that like, I almost think they know they went too far with that one because there's stuff in the books that involve animals, but you're reading, you can get past it. It's not common and it's never a feature. However, this one particular cover, it's on the cover and it's the point and it's awful. And they've done stuff with kids on other covers too that they went back to, but just the one with the pets, I'm not playing around. So I won't even show that one. I will several different stickers on that, but anyway, that's Crossed. It means something to me. It accesses an emotion in my life. I hope you enjoyed this video, or I hope this video kept you far away from a franchise that you should never look to. But regardless, look out for that second video. Thank you for stopping by. My subscribers have been growing slowly but surely, and it's all because of awesome, cool people like you who want to actually talk about the stories in these comic books and not just like, today on the Market Watch.